guys, the mole is back, and I only found out last freaking week. I love the mole. It was one of the first reactions that I did on my channel in my first like official year on YouTube. Love it. I actually filmed that June 5th. I just didn't have time to post it, but hi everyone, welcome. If it's your first time, my name is Talia Adewale. This is DISBYDEM. We're going to be talking about The Mole Season 2. We're going to do reviews and then a reaction for the last episode where they reveal the mole. It's going to be in different takes. I finished 2 episodes today, so we're going to dive on into that. Before we get to it, be sure to do all the right things and let's boogie oogie oogie people. It looks like it's better than ever. Honestly, love the show. I don't care what they do. They could do nothing and I would love them all because I love the concept so much. And based on the first 2 episodes that I've seen, they're not cursing in this one. I feel like they cursed in the last one. It had Will, it had Dom that introduced us to Dom. I love Dom. I really do. But after watching him on The Mole, and then on Perfect Match 1 and 2, TV is wasted on this man. I swear to God, TV is wasted on him. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Why he is always the first choice to get kicked out. Or why he just doesn't stand on business and do what he needs to do. I don't know how I got into Dom. I like the guy, but I think TV is wasted on him. Anyways, Season 1 gave us Dom, it gave us Will. It gave us, what was her name? Oh, I remembered it, but it's kind of like flown out of my mind. Anyhow, it gave us some really entertaining people. I was trying to think of the mole's name from Season 1, and I can't just remember right now. Loved it. As soon as they released it, I was on the ball because I love shows like that. I actually like game shows, and I used to do a lot of those before I kind of fell into the K-drama wormhole, and I haven't been able to claw myself out of that. But I do have an editor now, a very good editor. Shout out JC. Hopefully, with him taking on a lot of that stuff for editing, I can also do a lot of this other stuff that I love as well, which is what my channel has always been about. Well, yeah, Season 2 is back. They did change Alex. I think her name was Alex. If I'm wrong, I will put a picture and a name. I thought that she was a fantastic host. I don't know who Ari Shapiro is. Let's do a quick Google search and see who this man is. Okay, Ari Shapiro is an American radio journalist. Okay. He was kind of like Alex, I think. Loved her. Gorgeous, entertaining. Like whenever she was on the screen, we were focused. I'm giving Ari Shapiro the benefit of the doubt. So far, he's been okay. Love his neck. He is like a graceful swan. So at least, you know, we've got that going for him when he comes on screen. He's doing okay this time. The first season was in Australia. Second season is in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is in Malaysia. They start the first episode in Kuala Lumpur. We're giving 12 new contestants, you know. We have Muna, who's a software engineer. Some of these might not be right, guys. I was typing, watching, and also interacting with my family. So it was a lot going on, but just bear with me. Andy is a forensic accountant. Love Andy. He's the oldest guy there, which kind of just makes you want to trust him. But I know old people have done some really sketchy things on reality TV shows, so we were even falling in the trap. Me and my cousin were like talking, and we're like, no, Andy was the one who tied the rope. He didn't do the barrels. Like, we were like into it, and I was like, you know what? We gotta calm down. We can't always trust, you know, the most, you know, likely trustable person in the room, especially when it comes to the mole. So Andy's a forensic accountant. Hannah is a marketing consultant. I don't like her. Well, no, I don't like her personality in the show, but I like her content for the show because she keeps it very entertaining. That's for sure. Quaylin, and I was like, how many wives can a man have in his name? No judgment, just saying. Quaylin is a bus driver, very animated. We see that in episode 2. Michael is a parking manager. Who's Michael? Oh yeah, the redhead. Yeah. Sean is a stay-at-home dad. Ryan, very quiet, very calculating. I do not think she's the mole at all. She hasn't crossed my mind once as a mole, but we have to wait and see. She announces that she's a stay-at-home mom, But whenever she's doing her one-on-one, they write volleyball coach. And they didn't actually say that. Like they haven't announced it, or she hasn't even said that. Oh yeah, I announced myself as a stay-at-home mom, but I'm actually a volleyball coach. I guess she can be both. But they haven't touched on the fact that what she told the guys is different from what she is. So I've got my eyes on Ryan. That is for sure. Jennifer is a program analyst, and I from get go I didn't like this girl. The way she came in, dodging grass. You're in a freaking forest. Like seriously, did not like it. She rubbed me the wrong way as soon as she came on the screen, which was so annoying because she's so gorgeous and very animated and also a big character. And I wanted to like her. That first impression kind of just threw that out the window for me. Niche is a marketing consultant, I think, or something. Honestly, I feel like this is where I lost the plot when I was typing. I will find out what he is and I will put it on the screen. And I think that Niche is likable, but he's doing too much. And I also didn't think that he was anything but normal until episode 2, when I started clocking some discrepancies in the way he was acting. So definitely mole behavior in episode 2. But in episode 1, he was just talking too much, which got him into hot water, like we saw, right? Melissa is a poker player and didn't like her from get-go. There was something very off about her. I don't know if it's just because she seems untrustworthy or if she's the mole. We're going to have to wait and find out. And then we have, last but not least, Tony, who's a VIP host. I was on board with Tony until some statements that he made in episode 2, but we will get to it. So right out the gate, Ari introduces all of them to each other in this field. And it's a paintball challenge, paintball car challenge. And something new is introduced. I don't remember if this was in season 1. If I'm being honest, I can't remember season 1 like in detail. I only remember bits and pieces here, just because there were things that I should have clocked about the mole in season 1 that I didn't, and so now those details are like stuck in my head forever, but what they introduced here was that all 12 of them were standing in the field, having just introduced themselves to each other. Ari had just talked to them, and then 5 intruders walked out of the corn stalks in the field. And the whole thing of the challenge is that the intruders are going to be, locked up, and they're going to be given a clue if they can free themselves within 30 minutes. They have the chance to run through 3 stages, get a key, and unlock the car. Whoever gets into the car takes the spot of one of the current OG 12. Now, the 3 stages are basically the defense bases for the 12. There's going to be the first stage where they are looping paint balloons with a catapult. The second stage has the second zones they call them. I don't know why I was saying stages in my head. The second zone has a sniper, and then the third zone has 3 shooters. So that's the defense for the OG 12 to stop any of the intruders from getting the car. If all 5 got into the car, then I think 5 of the OG members would have gone. I wasn't, like I said, I was interacting with my family members, but I feel like if there were 5 intruders, then, oh no, I think only 1 could make it. I feel like only 1 could make it, because they now announced that a leader will have to be appointed out of the 12, and that person who is the leader of the crew, if one of the intruders gets into the car, whoever makes it to the car and they fail the mission, they will take the place of the leader. So obviously nobody wants to volunteer to be leader. Now this is where I said Nish got himself into trouble, because he had been talking too much, and I think it's a nervous thing, that like it was definitely partly nervousness, partly he's a talker. And he'd been, making comments about him being the leader. He was like, let's go, whoa, let's this. So when it came time for them to nominate, they had 5 minutes to decide who was going to be appointed the leader. If they did decide within 5 minutes, they would have $10,000 added to the pot. If they did it, they would lose out on $10,000, and somebody will be appointed, I think, by random. So, cut to the discussion and the nomination. Melissa up and just points at Nish and says, I think you should be the leader. And of course, as soon as a name is thrown out, we know survival games. As soon as a name is thrown out the door, everybody hooks their claws into it. So every single person was like, niche, niche, niche. Somebody literally said, I'm just hopping on the bandwagon now, niche. I was like, there you go. So obviously he wasn't really happy to do it, but he did it anyway. They set up their zones. I can't really remember who. He had Muna. Oh, who were the first people? Quaylin, Sean, Muna, Hannah. Zone 2, he had Mike, Tony, Melissa, and Andy. Andy was the sniper. Mike, Tony, and Melissa were the starers. So it was this platform where he would be on top, and they would have to, point him and shift him in different spots so he could he could snipe appropriately. So zone 3 was whoever was left: Niche, Ryan, and Jennifer. Yes, I feel like that's how it went down. Anyhow, the challenge starts, and all 5 intruders get through zone 1. They didn't get anybody. Seeing as it was slingshots, catapults / slingshots, I mean, honestly, and the intruders were moving fast. They were like, whoop, as soon as they could, they left, they hit the ground running, and they took off. So I don't really know that there was more behavior there. At least not at this point. This point, I'm still getting the lay of the land. I'm trying to understand how everybody's acting just to see what's happening. Zone 2, by this time, the intruders could use their smoke bombs, which was kind of nice. I was like, okay, distraction. Andy was able to get one, but when he said on the second try, he said go left, they were turning him right, and he's like, other left, and they just kept on not really, listening to direction. I get that the ground was very slippery. It was wet and muddy, so it was slippery. However, this was where I was like, I think Melissa was a little mole-ish. Michael, maybe. And Tony, on the other hand, no, I never really suspected him. But Melissa for sure, and Michael second at this point in time. So they were able to, he only got 1 in zone 2. So 4 of them were the final people to go into zone 3. For zone 3, each person had only 10 paintballs. So the ammunition was limited. There was 3 of them, and there was only 10. 4 intruders take off, trying to get through. Ryan got 1 with I think she used up 6 paintballs. I can't really remember the actual numbers. Jennifer got 1, using up all her 10 bullets on this one person. It's like, girl, come on. And then Niche got the last, Niche got 1, but he was out of bullets. And then Ryan had only 1 paintball left in her gun, and she was able to take her time, and she got the last intruder. So they passed the mission, and they won $20,000, bringing the pot up to $30,000. I wrote down Jennifer firing all bullets at 1 intruder, and then just after claiming, when they were deliberating and figuring out who would become the leader, she said, oh yeah, she's good at paintball. I was like, Molish behavior, or just stupid behavior, because I don't understand what she was doing. They then, go back to the house, and they receive a call from Ari saying that they need to nominate 3 trustworthy nominees. They all talk together, and Muna, Tony, and Deanna are nominated. There was going to be 3 calls for each of them. So Deanna was the first to pick up the first call. And the call, Ari tells her that there's $5,000 on the line if she chooses option 1. But all 3 trustworthy people must choose option 1 for them to actually receive the cash. Or they choose option 2 for an advantage for the quiz later that they will be taking, the elimination quiz basically. And what the advantage is that they will get 1 correct answer for every wrong so 1 correct answer for a wrong answer. So basically, if your answer is wrong, you still get 1 extra point no matter what. Deanna chose the first option to get the cash. And I think the cash was for the pot. It wasn't for the individual. Tony chose cash as well. And then Muna Muna's 101. As soon as she started saying that she was from Somalia, and I said, as soon as I heard Somalia, this girl is taking the money home. She chose that correct answer because the correct answer gives you it's more likelihood that you're staying, because the more the wrong answers, the more likely that you will be eliminated. That's how it works. So she chose 2, and obviously comes out straight face, tells everybody, of course she chose 1. She chose the money. We're all a team. They don't find out now. They'll find out at the table what decision was made, right? So at the table, obviously it's announced that no money was added to the pot. So everybody is shocked, looking at everybody. Diana is saying, I swear, it wasn't me. Tony is saying, I chose 1. Muna is saying, oh, who did it? You know, everybody's like, who done it? Poor Tony, I think he wanted to say, I have never said no to money, but he said, I said no to money, and kind of like put a target on himself, you know. But obviously you can see that he was flustered. So anybody in this kind of situation, everybody is suspicious of everybody. So yeah, it is what it is. I thought that Tony was going to be eliminated, if I was being honest. So after everybody had done their quizzes, it was now the way they announce it. Usually, if you've seen it, they all have a phone, and then Ari would send their name, and they would tap whatever thing he sends, and it will either be a green light or a red light. Why was Quailing? I'm just gonna call him Q. Why was Q shaking so much? He was shaking. It's like he did so bad on the test, and he just couldn't stop shaking. It was ridiculous. I was like, what the hell, man? What is going on with you? I don't understand why he was shaking that much. Anywho, the episode came to an end. They went all around with only 3 people left. The 3 people were Nish, Jennifer, and Diana. And I was like, these bastards they're gonna vote out Nish after already like sacrificing him, basically setting him up as a sacrifice, being the leader earlier on. Because if the mission had failed, Nish would have gone home. Now they're just going to sacrifice. I thought Nish was going home. I'm not even going to lie. But the episode ends without them actually letting us know who was eliminated. And my guesses at this point for the mole were Jennifer or Melissa. I just didn't like Jennifer rubbed me the wrong way from the very beginning. So I was like, you gotta go, girl. And Melissa, there's something shifty about her. Episode 2 starts off, Nish is safe. And it was Jennifer's turn. Our red light came on, and I was like, you know what? I'm not mad at it. So obviously the mole cannot be eliminated. So she's cleared. She's not the mole, but she's going home anyways. The second challenge was Tioman's treasure hunt. It was a treasure hunt. It was a lot. There's the team building the raft, the team doing the smash, basically going into the mountains doing the land treasure hunt, and there's the team there's team shipwreck. The team doing the water treasure hunt. On the raft, we have Andy, D. Who the fuck is D? Oh, sorry, Andy, Diana, Sean, and Muna. Again, people, I was typing and watching at the same time. Team Smash was Nish, Q, and Tony. And then Shipwreck was Ryan, Hannah, Melissa, and Mike. So the Shipwreck team finds the ship. Mike asks a stupid question. Ryan was the one who found the ship. They were all spread out like, well, I don't understand. She was the only one seeming determined enough to actually look into the water. They were like, oh, they can't see anything. And it's like, shipwreck, it sank. You bunch of nudies. I was screaming at my screen. Ryan then finds a shipwreck, and Mike is asking stupid question. Are you sure it is it? He didn't find nothing, and he was just asking stupid questions. It was pissing me off this round. Ryan could not go deep enough to get the medical kit. She couldn't swim deep enough to do it, but she spotted it. She came up, she said, Mike, can you do it? Mike goes down, comes up, goes down, gets the kit, drops it. So now it's even lower. It's on the ground, on the bed of the ocean, or whatever, the water. And then I was like, mole behavior? Maybe not. I think it was just a very hard challenge. Usually the diving challenges are very difficult. We've known this from The Amazing Race and, Survivor and a lot of other shows that we've watched. He then says that he used to be a lifeguard, and I was like, Mole! What kind of lifeguard does not dive? You know what? Yeah, no, Mole! I don't think he's the mole, but I was screaming mole behavior. He finally is able to get it. He retrieves it and he gets back up. They find the kit. Inside is a bottle with a message in it. The Smash team lost their way many times. In fact, Niche was leading that team. He'd assumed leader again throughout this whole thing for the entire Tioman's treasure hunt. And I'm like, Niche, shush, shush. You did it once, you got away with it. Stand back. You do not have to put yourself in the limelight. On shows like this, you just stand back and watch, which is why I think that Ryan will go the farthest. Because she doesn't talk much. Honestly, she just sits back and she observes. And when she speaks, it's very like, you know? Anywho, Niche, they're dabbling, they're wasting time. He doesn't know what he's doing. They get lost. Tony says, let's double back because this is not working. And then Q finds the first clue. Now, this is where I was looking at Niche as a potential mole because they both looked at the rock. Niche looked at it first and just kept on going. And then Q looked at it and found it. Now, I don't know if Niche was frazzled, uncertain. I don't know what it is, but it was definitely mole behavior. And it keeps on going throughout the challenge. Tony saying that this is where I didn't like Tony. Tony saying he would give Niche a wedgie was just so high school and uncool. Yeah, I get that the guy was fumbling, but it doesn't give you the right to bully him or say that you will potentially bully him in school. It was very frat boy mentality, and I was liking Tony until here because Tony was actually displaying lots of intelligence. He was definitely it was when I realized that he's a lot more intelligent than he lets on and a lot more intelligent than he looks. But that whole bullying statements, the bullying statement was uncool and I was not there for it after that. They finally find the target, but then they miss that it's actually hanging above them. So they find this box of, food supply. It had canned lychees, no, not lychees, lychees, canned lychees. It had sardines, it had beans, but they knew that that's not what they were looking for. It was just hanging above them. Eventually, Q looks up and he finds it. Now he's there saying, oh, there were 6 eyes. How come they didn't see it? I'm like, you had 2 eyes. You didn't see it at first. So not necessarily mole behavior. Yes, should you be cautious? Absolutely, but not necessarily mole behavior. The two most helpful people on the Smash team were Q and Tony. The raft team, on the other hand, Andy was working hard to make the boat secure. But he used a lot of the rope just to try and secure the bamboo straws. Is that what they're called? Bamboo stalks to get that. And Diana complained that there's not going to be enough rope to tie what's that called? The drum? The bass? I think it's called a drum. I don't know, child. You guys watched it. Anywho, the actual flotation things, I think they're called drums, yes, to the bamboo raft that they're creating. So she cuts the rope, cuts an edge of it, and uses that. Now, I feel like cutting that edge of the rope may not have been the best idea because he was trying to create a solid foundation because they don't know how heavy the treasure is. I feel like Andy was doing the right thing and she kind of like just went in there and, whatever. Anywho, both teams, Smash and Shipwreck, find the clues. They put it together and they see where X marks the spot. Tony is the one that finds where X marks the spot. Tony was extremely helpful during this challenge, which made me eliminate him as a mole completely. There is no way, at least for episode 2, no way that he was the mole. Muna was, oh my god, shifty. She was shifty. She said that she was going to stay with the boat team because that is a potential place for sabotage to happen. When she said that, I was like, yeah, I'm on board, girl, go. But as soon as she got there, she kept she was shifty. She was looking left, right, and center. And there was one time that she was standing by the boat and doing something and looking up, making sure that nobody was looking at her. It was shifty behavior, man. And she became prime suspect for the mole for me. Obviously, they find their treasure. They load up the boat. The boat, honestly, was hanging on for dear life. They were hanging on for dear life. Oh, yeah, Muna also suggested that they cut the bamboo stalks. Like, the bamboo thing, the stalks were extended outside the boat. And she said, cut it, because there'll be no need for it. Now, my cousin and I were thinking, Why not have the stalks extended? That way, each person can hold on to a stalk and swim, and it will be faster because they will act as propellers. It will also help with balance. Why would she suggest that they cut the stalks? Nah, it was very mole behavior. Mole. The raft comes apart like, I don't know, 5 feet from the buoy. And they manage to, get a rope thrown from the buoy. Tony hooks the rope, pulls them, towards the buoy, and they pull the flare. They shoot the flare, and the mission was completed basically. So they still passed the mission, which was kind of nice. And they added $15,000 to the pot, bringing the pot up to $45,000. Then the next challenge, it's the next day, I think they're at this bar, and all of them are sitting down and they introduce the exemption card. We love the exemption card. However, okay, so what the exemption card does, it keeps you safe from the quiz. So you can answer all the questions wrong, but as long as you have the exemption card, you will not be eliminated. However, the cost of the exemption card is that they're all seated right now at the bar. And the longer they are seated there, the more money they lose. So they're going to be losing money per second until the last person sitting in, there's only one more person sitting in the bar. So if nobody decides to stand up, that pot goes down to 0. So all of them are sitting down, and Tony straight up just says, I'm willing for the pot to go down to 0. If I'm not getting the exemption card, nobody's getting the exemption card. This is where Q starts to lose his mind, people. The way he was losing his mind, I just love it when you introduce the black man and money. He was losing his mind. I loved it. It was absolute prime entertainment.
You come on a show to win money, not to lose money. You're not. What the hell, what?
But in the end, everybody did get up one by one. They were leaving. It was left down to Hannah and Tony. Hannah and Tony have this thing going on. They have this kind of on-screen romance, I think, going on, where it's kind of like, I know you're my competition, but I'm really attracted to you kind of thing. So whatever Tony says, Hannah seems to back. And whatever Hannah says, Tony kind of backs. I haven't really seen anything that Hannah has said that Tony backs, but definitely she's on board for Tony and whatever plan he has. So she said, I'm not getting up. If I'm not getting it, nobody's getting it. So in the end, it was just both of them left. And that's where episode 2 ended. Now, at the end of this episode, I said that my potential moles are Muna, definitely, because of the raft size, sabotage, and the rope and the shifty eyes. Like, there was just a lot going on for Muna during this episode. And then Nish, because he was missing the marks, and also just flossed, like, he was just wasting time, it seemed like. And honestly, I think he was clueless, but I cannot ignore the signs. And there were definite more behavior adjacent things going on with Nish during this episode. Okay, I'll see you guys in episode 3. Holy crap, mom.